Hey guys, this is Ashton
This is Kevin.
And this is Ray.
with Jackalmen Games, and today we have some new spoilers to talk about. So Kevin, what's going on with these things? What do we
Uh,
see here?
I first want to start off that I have some fond memories of this alien race.
Oh
That
goodness,
that the first Star Wars movie that I ever saw was Episode 1 when I
I
was
feel
9.
so bad for you. Oh my God, I'm
Yeah,
gonna throw up.
he has to be the only one.
So yeah, this is the first alien race that I ever encountered in a Star Wars movie. Was these Gungans. So the first Gungan that was released, besides, well, it was Jar Jar last set, but the first one in these spoilers is Boss Nass. He is a 9 health character, 9 to run him at 1 die, 12 to run him at 2 die at Elite. He has 2 indirect, 2 focus, 1 disrupt, 1 resource, and then 2 blanks. And he has pretty neat ability. After you activate a Gungan, you may deal 1 indirect to an opponent equal to the number of character dice that just rolled a blank. So if you put him in a deck filled with Gungan dice and filled with blanks, you'd be able to do a lot. You'd be able to like double tap people. You know, you hit them for the indirect damage that roll the blanks, and then fix your dice, and then hit them with damage again.
Which is really cool because he has that one focus side, so that's kind of
Yes.
neat. A little bit of synergy there. I mean, Ray, what are you thinking about the Boss Nass spoiler?
I mean, out
Be
of the
truthful.
ones that we've, all right, I hate it.
There
I
we go.
hate, I hate it all. I hate the Gungans. They
My
were
boy.
not a fond memory for me, and I think that these cards are overly campy and they're trying to be a little too cute and fun. So we have to certainly see some of the other cards that we'll get into, and then more from the set. But just by the first look of it, I'm not too impressed.
So you had the Jawas and you had the battle droids and now you have the Gungans. I would say that those aren't the races or species of the characters I really want to see. Like, I would rather see a clan of Tusken Raiders than I would, Gungans. I mean, who wouldn't? And there's plenty of other races that we could explore. And, we get the droids and things like that. But as far as races, I don't know why they're releasing the Gungans first. I guess just because everybody kind of knows them, or hates them, whatever you want to say there.
It could be more than just me as
And,
the first race.
and we were talking about, other things as far as like other like leader qualities, because you'll notice that he's a character, but he's a Gungan and he's a leader. So if there's other leader types, like what me and Ray are familiar with in Magic, that's a great thing. That's a great concept. That's something that I'm super excited about. So even though, yes, it is a Gungan and this may not be an amazing ability, it just shows that leaders are a type and we're going to see more of that. So across all of the other races. So I'm excited
Yeah,
about it.
like Ashton was saying, I think this new set, Way of the Force, is going to possibly be a little bit of a tribal set. That's what we call it in Magic the Gathering, where it's heavily based around certain, species or certain type of character. And I think that it was kind of like foreshadowing when they started putting character and then different types on them. So maybe, we'll get some other cards that have some pretty intense synergy, but I still don't like it.
Well,
So
tell us how much you don't like it when we move on to Gungan Warrior.
Yes, so I'll take the next one. It's the Gungan Warrior. It is a character that is of 6 health. To play, it has a play cost of 6. It's a hero. Die sides read 1 melee, 2 indirect, 1 shield, 1 resource, and 2 blanks. So it's pretty cut and dry. It's just a little weak Gungan.
hmm for 6, which the
For
point
6.
value of the Jawas and the point value of the droids was what?
6 as well, I
6 as
think,
well.
right?
Yep.
Exactly. So
The
it's
Jawas
showing
weren't 5?
it's the whole concept that it was big guy, little
there's
guy.
6.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of the neat thing is that they're keeping the 6 there, and then so how many of those Gungan warriors can we run with Boss Nass?
You can run 3 Gungan Warriors with an elite boss, Nas.
And thank you for the math lesson by Kevin.
Yeah. 18 plus 12 is anybody,
12.
30. That's
I
right.
think it's cool with Boss Noss's or Big Cat, we'll call him. I think it's cool that the Gungan Warriors have a double blank side. I don't know if you'd ever think that's cool in any other deck or any other character, but it does kind of have that built-in synergy. And I think you could certainly, like they were saying, roll out, tap them for some indirect, and then, re-roll and resolve some more damage. So, like I said, it's definitely a cute, fun mechanic, but I think this, yeah, like Ashton says, falls in line with the Jawas and the battle droids.
So they get that thematicness. But also it's one of those things too where he is holding a shield, and he does have a shield, but it's like I really wish that he was like a 2 shield character, because it's like he has the 2 blanks. You're only able to use 4 sides here. If it was a two shield, that would have made him a little bit more playable, maybe. I mean, I don't even know if any of this is really playable. It's more of like something that's really fun. Like in solo format, this just won't work. Like I don't know what
Oh
you're
yeah,
gonna do with
no.
that. So, but I mean, as far as thematic, it's really cool. Now with those die, that's 5 die hero, right? That's it's not a ton of life. So Kevin, what's the life
Oh.
total?
Is 18 plus 9 is 27 health.
So
That's up there.
Yeah,
I mean
it is up there.
It's hard to get through.
But if these Gungans had like 2 shields instead of 1, that would have been better. Because then you can use them, resolve the damage with the blanks, shield them up, different things like that. But I mean, I know there's other cards that we're going to go through and other things that we don't even know yet. These things could just be crazy good. But
it seems like you need a lot of dumb luck in this deck, Ashton.
Talking about dumb luck, Kevin, thank you so much. So dumb luck is a 1-cost yellow hero card. Okay, so what's nice about this is it gives you a spot a yellow character or a Gungan. So it can be a Gungan or a spot a yellow character. Okay, but obviously you have to have something yellow to play this card in your deck. But it lets you re-roll up to 5 of your dice, then deal indirect damage to an opponent equal to the number of dice that just rolled a blank. So, it's 5 dice. It doesn't have to be character dice, doesn't have to be Gungan dice, it's just 5 dice in general. So if you're going to run other cards in this deck that you're going to build with these characters that have lots of blanks, that could work in your favor. Now, granted, you're only going to have 2 of these cards, so like you're not going to be triggering that ability a bunch, but if there's other cards that they put out in the set like this, that'd be great.
You could rebel or cheat the dumb luck back.
You could.
That's another thing you could do, but that's silly actions.
No, but I think this whole deck's silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's like chaotic damage that could potentially win just because it's going to mess up the flow of the whole game, which is kind
of just like Gungans. Yeah, that's what they are.
Exactly.
So
I think
I'm excited for it.
Some play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they made it an uncommon. Anytime you get to reroll dice, it's always a good thing. And then even in other decks that aren't going to be a Gungan tribal, if you will, you can cheat some extra damage out for kind of the painful fact of rolling blank. So I don't think it's a horrible card. I don't think it should sit at an uncommon, but certainly fun and kind of plays the whole theme.
So one of the things that I liked about Dumb Luck, to kind of play into more of like some cards that we're talking about as far as building and what things we can construct here. Hold on one second. I just noticed something. Maybe it's just me. Does the layout of the top of this card look any different?
It's a circle. It's a full circle instead of just a half circle. Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't seen any other card like that. Have you?
I
mean, I have, but you'll notice that like it seems like the borders are thicker.
Events usually have
the full
circles.
It just looks bigger. Maybe it's just like the uncropped image. It just looks different to me for some reason. Maybe it's the border on the right hand side. But anyway, so one thing that we're talking about with this card is you can run things like Maz. You can, and so if you're not going to do a bunch of things with the Gungans or, to run this card in your deck because it's yellow, you could run Maz. And Maz is a great character. She's cheap. She's 8 or 11 elite. And, with Maz, you can activate that character, do the damage with the blank side that you may hit on these characters because your chances are pretty high, being at like, 32%. So if that happens, you do the damage, and then you can activate Maz. You can focus it into damage and do the damage.
And resolve it right away, yeah.
Right. So it's a way of getting the damage for a negative effect, being the blank, which is kind of what you want to go for, and then activating Maz and moving forward. So I think that's kind of cool synergy. But yeah, Kevin, so talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, focusing your dice is really cool, and you can have another chaotic character in there. You could have Jar Jar Binks up in there because he's also a Gungan.
Mm-hmm.
You could also, if you're running the yellow card, so you can have the dumb luck, and you could put Maz's goggles in because she has the 2 focus sides. She has the 1 focus, the 2 focus, and then resource, and the special. I mean, when you roll that out, you really want the focuses, so you can fix your blanks that you're most likely going to roll. But it's just, stuff to add to I'm rolling a whole bunch of dice, fixing it, and smacking you with that indirect.
Right.
You know what I really would have liked to see? That the boss's text read anytime you roll a blank, not upon activation, because it'd be super cool. You have all of your Gungan dice in the pool, and then you roll in your Jar Jar, and then you have to re-roll all of your dice, because they don't have sides that match up, whatever the case may be, and then you get to re-roll and kind of do it all over again. I think that would be really cool. The upon activation is really what's holding me up. But like Kevin said, the focus in any even competitive constructed decks, focus is huge. So Maz's Goggles will be a great card. Maz herself, awesome card.
Yeah, and we were talking about some other characters that you could put in if you didn't want to make it all Gungans and Gungan warriors. We were looking at the Star Wars Destiny Cantina, and we typed in the keyword reroll, and some characters that you could run with them that have that reroll ability built into them is Chirrut, because after you activate them, you get to reroll a whole bunch of stuff. So let's just say that all your Gungans roll blanks. You get that, or not all of them, but you get a couple of blanks from your Gungans. Then you get to activate Chirrut and then mix that all up. And I mean, his sides don't really fit well with the Gungans, but
no, but he is 12, so he is 12 for non-elite. So you can still fit him in there for that ability. But then there's other cards that we'll go over more too that can kind of turn some things into range damage. So you can kind of use the indirect with the range ability. Yeah, I mean, Chirrut's just never been really playable because of the modified sides. Like, he has potential. Like, he really does. But he's a little bit expensive. I mean, he's actually a lot expensive for what he does in his sides. But he's expensive, and then also the modified sides kind of mess you up a little bit. But I just think it's cool that, he has the ability to where after you activate this character, you may then re-roll all of your dice showing blanks. So, like, if you roll the blanks, and you do the damage because of the blanks, and then, let's say, you activate Chirrut, you get to, re-roll those blanks and potentially turn them into damage. And then if not, you activate Maz, and then you focus them into more damage. So it's like a way of like constantly changing your dice to create this whole chaotic thematic thing, which is actually really fun. Like, I will build a Gungan deck just because it's going to be annoying, and that's fun. Like,
that'd be fun for locals.
Like, I'm going to make an alternate art card, and it's going to have like Kevin's face on it. Just
man.
But anyway, so I think it would be really fun, and with all the focuses and things, if you could make it tanky by adding the blue and the yellow, and you could make it tanky with Chirrut and Maz and Boss or something, or even like a Gungan War, but you really need Boss in there. It could be fun, it could do something.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm gonna hijack your
go ahead
pick here, because I love this Leia Organa from Awakenings. So this was another option we were thinking about. Obviously not so much like Ashton said about Chirrut, not so much for the die sides. I mean, she does have that focus there, but her action, which is kind of a sleeper even in constructed decks, which is remove this die to re-roll up to 2 of your dice. So a little less impactful than Chirrut. You can hit so much more if you have a lot of blanks with Chirrut, but still giving you that ability to kind of re-roll the dice and see what you get. So like Ashton said, just constant like re-rolling, keep it going, and throwing your opponent off. It can definitely be fun.
Yep. And then my favorite, I have a huge crush on Mon Mothra. I think she is so pretty in all of anyways. And I love her card art. Mon Mothra was another pick. Has the same idea as Maz with the 1 focus and the 2 focus. She had shields and 2 resources sides. And then every time you play an event, you can pick a die and re-roll it that matches the color of the event that you just played. So that lets you. So if you play a red event, you can fix a Gungan dice. Or if you play Dumb Luck, you can then fix your. It lets you. Dice. It lets you fix your yellow dice. So it lets you fix your mistakes, kind of, with your blanks.
Well, she's cheap. She's 11 for 9, so I mean that's not too terrible at all.
I love. I'm just looking for a reason to use her.
Oh yeah.
You know what I just thought about now too? If you have Mon Mothra out there and you play a card like Dumb Luck, you could technically grab a 5th die, or 6th die. Excuse me, a 6th die.
Yeah, you could. Well, it would be
5, and then the 1 off of same, right?
Yeah. Or you might be able to re-roll it after Dumb Luck finishes.
Yeah.
Like you could,
Yeah.
so then you could pick up another yellow. You could pick up your Jar Jar die and re-roll it.
I love how
think-
deep we're getting into this because I hate the whole thing, but
But it's just like we just think about it all day.
Well,
like
I mean,
I was teaching and thinking about this.
One of the things Ray was talking about, which Ray, I definitely want to hear more of your thoughts on this, is you were talking about running more cards like Runaway Boomas.
yeah. So Runaway Boombas, not only is it thematic, I'm pretty sure that's like the Gunga's
It is.
artillery, but just kind of flooding the board there with not only the blanks it has, but also the heavy amount of indirect, because the warriors, they have decent indirect damage. Boss, he has the 2 indirects. So you can certainly be an indirect damage deck. That's viable.
Mhm.
And then the Boomba has that power action where you can roll another one in there. So hitting someone for 6, 9 indirect is quite effective over time. So you could certainly run one of those, or play a set of those. You have access to Second Chance, which rolls out those blanks as well, and C3PO. So Kevin had to kind of convince me with the C3PO, but you can certainly take that indirect that you're getting, and then use C3PO's action to kind of turn that into focus or whatever you need. So there's certainly some options here.
Well, and if you
Yeah.
do more with the vehicles with the Gungans, like if they produce, more cards for Gungan-style vehicles, like maybe their horse and buggy, needless to say, I can't think of the species right now, but, their little carriages that they have with their little funny-looking horses. If they do something with that, you can use the C3PO die to gain more resources or to remove, to change that chance cube into whatever. There's all sorts of things that you can do, but it gives you that initial ramp. And then I feel pretty confident that there will be more cards that deal with blank sides, to where it's a support that sits out in the field, or even a battlefield you can claim, and it says if you roll a blank, do 1 indirect damage or something cool. And then this deck would be great because then you're rolling all these dice and you're doing all these crazy things and you're activating Jar Jar and you're re-rolling other things, and all these blanks that you're hitting is doing indirect damage because of a battlefield. That'd be kind of cool.
Yes, sir.
But I definitely see that these cards could play into this.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about the blanks, we're not talking about Boss Nos, just so everyone knows that. We're talking about Dumb Luck and
Right.
kind of flooding your board with dice that have a 2 or 3 blank sides. So just so if anyone was kind of confused by that, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, because we understand that once you activate a Gungan, you may deal indirect damage, with Boss Nos's ability. We're just talking about blanks in general, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring up cards that are focusing on those 3 main attributes, which is a Gungan, which is the blank, and then the activation ability, things of that sort, re-rolling and things of that sort.
And focusing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because if you think about it, with Runaway Boombas, if you play Dumb Luck and you get to reroll a Boomba, I mean, it turns into, the die sides naturally are 2 indirect, 3 indirect, and then 3 blanks. It turns those 3 blanks into 1 additional indirect. So, that's a 6-sided die that has damage on each side. So it's pretty effective.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I want to get into is there's about 3 more cards we're all going to mention. Things that we're thinking about to get a little bit deeper into this rabbit hole is training. So training is a 2 cost for red. It is neutral, and it's an upgrade that you can attach to these Gungan warriors that now make them elite. So that is amazing, because if you can get that early game, or if you can do something that lets you fish that from your hand, or hard mulligan for that card, or do something, that's huge. I mean, because now you're rolling that Gungan warrior out, and you're getting activation abilities from Boss Nos or whatever it is that you're doing. There can be some potential there, and then now you have this Gungan warrior that's 2-diced.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things you can do with that.
If you're able to train 2 Gungan warriors, you're sitting at a 7 dice Gungan deck. If you're going to build the Boss Nos and the 3 warriors, that's what you're sitting at.
Yeah, and if you can happen to get that early game, that's great. And then there's another card, Ray, that I want you to bring up that works with trainings also, that you mentioned as well.
Yeah, so Locked and Loaded. It hasn't really found a home in many other decks, but it is an event. It costs 1 resource, and it says spot a red character to turn 2 of your dice to side showing indirect. Mm-hmm. So like we said, obviously going back to Boss Nos, if you roll in your other Gungans and they hit the blanks. That's one indirect, for the blanks, and then you can fix your die. It's almost like an immediate focus for 2 dice. So you can certainly turn those over and have a 4 indirect showing. So it's definitely viable.
Yeah, and for a turn, let's say you roll in the Boomba, you play the extra resource to roll in a second Boomba, you hit those blanks, then you just fix them to 3 sides. That's 6 indirect.
Mm-hmm. You run a swiftness beforehand, so you're playing 2 resources total, and you trigger that fast. There could be that sneak attack, as far as the damage being dealt. And also another one you were bringing up earlier, Ray, is what was it? It was squad tactics, was it?
Squad tactics, yes. So that's a card all the way back from Awakenings as well. Mm-hmm. You used to do a lot of janky stuff with squad tactics, but it gives you the ability to activate all of your non-unique characters all at once. Read up on your rules and regulations, because there's a lot of weird things as far as sequencing with squad tactics, because different effects take effect, if you will. Mm-hmm. But and it costs 0, so it's a great card.
Absolutely.
So, and the last card we're going to talk about, and it's really, thematic as the last card, is called Final Moment. I saw this on Facebook. Someone mentioned it, that, this might be the deck where you'd play Final Moments, because it gives your Gungans that one last activation.
Right.
So if your opponent's sitting with just like a couple health on the board, you pay those 4, and then you activate those Gungans and hope for blanks.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this new format that we're putting out here, and we obviously have a new face with us, which is now officially part of the Jackal Buddies. So,
what's up, Ray?
We didn't really introduce him towards the beginning of this video because he's already part of the family, so everybody kind of knows that he's here. So, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this format. This is kind of our thoughts on it. So make sure you guys definitely leave some kind of comments, some other build variants. Kat, I know you're gonna watch this video, and I know you got ideas, bro. I want to hear them. So Ray, Kev, you guys want to say anything before we stop this video?
The Gungans are the most elite race.
The Gungans are horrible.
Oh man. All right, guys.
All right.
Well, thanks again. Y'all have a great
Ashton,
day. Yes, sir.
Say it, Ashton. Say
What's
it.
that? What? Build that jank and don't roll the blanks?
No, but you have to
totally
switch it for the
fits here.
Gungans. Switch it for the Gungans. You have to build that jank and roll them blanks.
Roll the
Yes.
blanks.